It's a lifestyle. In a bit of a predicament here, a little adventure. We got a rental car that we may or may not have already scraped against a nice rock. We got a primitive road. Running in Vegas. Gotta get the miles in.
After a short flight to Vegas, we took advantage of our downtime and got food for our trip at the local stores.
George, Utah
St. George
is a time warp, a time machine of retail stores. I mean, they have every single retail store that you could ever actually imagine here. Ever. And there's multiple of them, too. Although they don't have an REI. So, we are finally, after God knows how long, jumping back on the highway and getting out of here to go to our camping destination.
We drove from Vegas to the Red Cliffs Natural Conservation Area, a dispersed campsite with a primitive road that you need a permit to stay at. This set us up for visiting Zion 2 hours away the next day. What we didn't know was just how quote-unquote primitive this road was going to be.
In a bit of a predicament here, a little adventure. We got a rental car that we may or may not have already scraped against a nice rock. We got a primitive road and a half mile to get to our next destination.
Alas, we made it there, and the campsite was beautiful.
Okay, we are here at the dispersed site. Now, we just gotta pick which one we want. We kind of laid up the car a little bit because we didn't really want to make it up some of these rocky stuff. But it looks like the sites are all kind of well dispersed around here. There's no, usually when I've dispersed camp, they have like a, a number on them. Babe, this one, something with wind protection maybe, but also where we can get sun in the morning because the sun's gonna come up somewhere around here. So, pretty cool area.
After setting up camp, we made our way down the canyon to find a popular destination called Babylon Arch.
This is how you get blisters. Oh man, I think we're almost there. I got 20 pounds of sand in my shoe. Oh, better be a pretty sick arch. This one is a little sketch.
like a cat in a tree.
I just don't want to fall there.
No, you said you don't.
You think I can go like this?
I don't know, Mr. Sketchy Sketchballs.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Are we ever gonna be ready? Sketched out.
3, 2.
Oh. Oh.
Oh,
Great.
that was being a pansy. That was scary though. I don't want to do that again.
After scrambling around the ridge, we made our way back down to camp to prep for Zion National Park in the morning.
I'm low-key scared, so I'm gonna just keep going.
We're pretty good.
No, I'm doing fine, but I'm just
morning, and we are still in Red Cliffs, and next stop is Zion. We're gonna enjoy the morning here, get some coffee, and head out on the road to catch the shuttle for Angel's Landing, which has been a bucket list. So pretty pumped about that. We'll see you there.
While Haley was getting ready, I took the time to explore some of the rocks behind our camp.
Right up here is the viewpoint. Our camp is just down here, but there's a lot of really cool scrambling options around here. I really actually wish that I could spend a little more time here because the scrambling is super fun. Not quite sure how I'm gonna get down yet, but super, super cool scrambling around in this area. I mean, these rocks are just perfect. Okay, where are we at? We're at the crux, right?
Yeah.
So here's the crux of the move. It's right down this little thing. We may or may not have hit that on the way up, but it's all good. This is the stuff you don't show your rental company that you're doing with your brand new 2021 Toyota.
We successfully navigated the rock and began our trip to Zion National Park. We boarded the shuttle, got off at the grotto, and began our hike up Angel's Landing.
Gotta go up there still.
I'm low-key scared, so I'm gonna just keep going.
After a couple hours, we made it to the top.
What would you give it out of 5?
4.7.
4.7.
I was actually
Pretty
scared.
good. Yeah, a lot of people. Here's hot tip number 1. It's cold in the canyon in the morning.
It's cold.
So bring an extra layer until the sun starts peeking out, right?
Snacks?
Oh yeah.
It's
bring,
not very long.
bring snacks for the top because we forgot.
It's gonna take longer than you think because you have to wait a lot.
Yep. Yeah, very true. And that's the scoop. And now we're gonna go eat. Yes!
We hurried back to our car to eat and to figure out a place to camp that night. Eventually, we stumbled upon a very cool rest stop. Name cannot be remembered, though.
Woo! Thought we were gonna be sneaky. You can show them what everybody camped here. We thought we were gonna be sneaky and camp at some of this BLM land or some sort of land, but there is a ton of people here. We following a line of cars in, so we might have to get back here a little bit. I'm not quite certain what we're gonna do. We'll hit you with an update. We actually found a spot fairly quick, and this is gonna be it. Got a nice little fire pit, so it's an established place so far. Pretty far away from people right now. Hopefully not a lot of other people come in. There's a cool little mountain range down over this way. And then we just kind of have a fairly quick jaunt, at least for as much as we've done, out to Canyonlands in the morning. So all in all, a pretty good deal.
That night, we settled into camp with the anticipation of trail running Canyonlands the next day. But little did we know how bad Canyonlands was going to kick our butts.
water to go out and back to the joint, I don't think. That was the hardest 20-mile run I've ever done.
That was the hardest hike I've ever done.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
We found a porta potty on the side of the road. I jokingly said, do you want to stop there and use the bathroom? Chad said yes, so here he is.
We got about 50 minutes right now, and then we'll enter into Canyonlands. Actually gonna both pretty much start at the same trailhead, Squaw Flat, and then I'm gonna go to Druid Arch. I have a 20-mile run. She's gonna do a nice size hike. Then we'll meet back up, and we got an Airbnb tonight. So that's the plan. It was a hot day in Canyonlands that day, so we prepped our gear accordingly. Or thought we did.
Craziest thing about this place, there's nobody here. The hurdle today on this run is going to definitely be, looks like navigation right now, but also water. So I brought a lot of water with me because there is just none. I can count on one hand the amount of water I've seen in Utah since we've been here. Navigating by these herons. A little bit hard.
As I made my way closer to Druid Arch, I slowly began to realize that this was not a regular trail, and this was way more of a challenge than I had anticipated. After reaching the arch, I became acutely aware that I was low of water and that I would not have enough to make the entire route that I wanted to.
Okay, we made it to Druid Arch. Highly recommend. Low water, so we need to start headed back. I think I gotta get back to the trailhead and get water. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the joint today, but very much well worth it. It's pretty dope. This sand is really chapping my ass. So slow. One of my fatal flaws is overheating, and it's hot. And I really don't have enough water to go out and back to the joint, I don't think. I think I'm gonna have to hook back over to the trailhead because I only got probably one full total flask, and it's still about 8 miles back. So very exposed out here, which is what I ran into in the JMT, which I've learned really beats me down. So it's good to get to this point. I was watching a video on Cameron Haynes, and he was like, once you hit the point of discomfort, that's when you know, I mean, that's when you go to work, right? That's when the work starts. So this is definitely a challenge. Literally don't even care. Oh, separate. Oh. I actually ran into a forest ranger who asked me if I wanted to have some water, and I said that I filtered out of that sketchy little pond for a little seep, and that I didn't want any because I have to suffer the consequences of my stupidity. So that's where we're at.
I met Haley in the middle of my run, but advised her to turn back from the arch as she didn't have enough water, as I was doing the same thing. All I could think about after meeting her was the fact that she had this tiny water bottle that was half empty and 8 miles back. After being out of water myself, I finally found a spigot and cameled up enough so I could run it back to Haley. But first I had to find her. I ended up finding Haley on that ridge up there, unwilling to go over it because of the wind. I yelled down to her and then grabbed her by the hand and helped her over, and we finally were able to make it back to the car. And yes, she was indeed out of water.
That run chewed me up and spit me out all over again. That was the hardest 20-mile run I've ever done.
That was the hardest hike I've ever done. The longest hike I've ever done too.
Mm-hmm. What'd you clock it?
I'm not sure.
Oh my god. You had to have gone 14.
I don't know.
There wasn't even that much elevation gain. It was just hot, exposed, no water. And I'm pretty sure I was recording a lot of my voiceovers on slow-mo. Canyonlands 1. That's 0.
Not far from Canyonlands was the Needles Outpost in our Airbnb, which was absolutely beautiful. We took the time to lick our wounds, watch a gorgeous sunset, and head to bed.
Because of these outrageously strong winds, we've made a pivot and we're going to be sleeping in the rental.
But yeah.
Well, that might be a dinosaur track. Also going to rain tomorrow, so we need to get out of here before that because these roads become pretty much impassable. So
I took advantage of the morning by scrambling on some rocks behind our campsite.
campsite is right there. This is right behind it. Pretty cool adventure.
Basically, the MO for today is figuring out where to camp tonight because we don't really have a hard plan for today. So it's just going to be kind of serendipitous. Stop here, stop there, find this, Google that, which is kind of fun. So we'll see you on the flip side.
We got a little road shoot here. There we go. What did you just say? You've had service for how long?
60 miles.
Oh my god, dude.
Knowing that we had to fly out the next day, we took a southwestern route down through Utah. While I drove, Haley looked for hikes that were close to the highway.
Getting blown away. I need my sunglasses.
Oh my God.
So we found the caves. However, since we were cheap and didn't park it wherever it was, now we have to figure out a route up there. So
The caves turned out to be super cool and were literally just a short little jaunt off the highway. Perfect for stretching your legs.
okay, so just a little bit down the road, Haley found another one, dinosaur footprints. And basically, I think we need to scramble up to there. So here's a little more Utah scrambling. Apparently, these are dinosaur tracks.
And see like the residue from somebody making a casting. But yeah.
Well, that might be a dinosaur track.
We got back in the car after the dinosaur prints, but still really didn't have an idea of where we were going to camp that night.
Here's a pro tip. The free Roam free app. You can download that. It pulls out all the necessary campgrounds that you can go to. BLM, all that kind of stuff, right? So we decided on one outside of Hurricane, right? On some BLM. And dispersed camping. So that's where we're headed. We got 3 hours.
And a half.
3.5. Probably
won't have
3
service
hours and
for the
25
next-
minutes of zero service.
We made it to our destination called Sheep Bridge. But once we got there, the wind was so strong that we decided to pivot and camp in our rig.
It's also going to rain tomorrow, so we need to get out of here before that because these roads become pretty much impassable. So last night,
Because of the wind danger, we couldn't have a fire to roast our weenies, so we had to improvise there as well.
Dinner will be ready in about 1 hour.
This is everything you've ever wanted.
This is exactly how I pictured.
and we're cooking weenies in the car. Don't tell the rental. But this is what you want. You want a little nice little char there.
Yeah.
You want a nice little char. You know, maybe the inside is still a little cold.
They're fully
That's okay.
cooked.
That's okay because they're fully cooked. It's okay.
I think my weenie was in front of the lens before that. I'm sorry.
The whole thing?
We were greeted with a terrific morning sunrise and packed up our gear in order to fly out and prepare for the next adventure. Thanks so much for following along, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
This thing has been going wide open for at least 20-25 minutes. Already was 3/4 of the way gone.
So you thought.
Thought, wow.